Hello Zimbabwe, welcome to Livetalk. We are coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington. I am your host, Taboka Ngube. Today we are... Today we are discussing Super Tuesday, the biggest day of presidential primaries of the 2024 US cycle. Voting is ongoing in 15 US states and Samoa, a US territory. President Joe Biden is not facing any major competition in clinching the Democratic nomination, while on the other hand, former President Donald Trump is looking to continue to establish a concrete lead in the delegate count, as former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley tries to slow his journey to the Republican nomination. But first, a look at what is happening in Zimbabwe. Opposition leader Job Sikala was this afternoon acquitted in his last case where he was accused of inciting public violence. His lawyer, Harrison Komo, speaks to Studio 7.
Right, as everyone was aware, we were in court for the judgment of Job Sikala in a matter in which he was being accused of inciting for the purposes of committing public violence, which is a violation of Section 187, subsection 1, paragraph A of the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act. We underwent through a protracted trial which has taken plus or minus 1.5 years, and today the magistrate, Madame Guriro, acquitted Job Sikala mainly on the basis that the alleged utterances did not meet the standards of the law. The evidence that was brought by the state did not establish originality. It did not establish authenticity as required by the law. It was just a video. Whether it was him, whether it was uploaded by him, the court found that no, the state evidence did not meet the 2020. In fact, we really need to address the injustice that has been perpetrated by Sikala. Remember, perpetrated on Sikala. Remember, he was in custody for 1 year, 8 months, amongst the other charges, on this particular charge. So now they kept him in custody for 1 year, 8 months, and he gets acquitted today. Obviously, justice has to be seen to be done, and the civil courts of this country have to intervene.
That was Harrison Nkomo, Job Sikala's lawyer, speaking to Studio 7 at the Magistrate Courts in Harare. Back to the United States, VOA Zimbabwe service reporter Gibbs Dube spoke to some voters in Arlington, Virginia.
So the reason that I voted the way I voted, I'm not going to say who I voted for, but the reason why I voted is because it's always important to use this process to exercise your democratic right to vote. Given the fact that our voting rights could be taken away from us if we're not careful, considering next year is the Voting Rights Act, like the 60th year, which is a crazy thing about. I just think it's important to vote.
Are you interested in this election and its age? Anything to go by? Are you concerned about maybe the age of a presidential election?
Am I interested?
A candidate,
I mean, I wish that the candidates were, I wish that the Democratic Party, essentially, since I will probably vote Democratic, obviously. I wish they had a younger candidate. At the same time, I think President Biden's policies have been pretty good, outside of the one issue over Israel and Gaza. I feel like his issue, he's been a very good president, like a very good president.
Can you cite some examples? Just one example?
One example?
Yeah.
Well, the Infrastructure Act was very, very popular. It's actually working. It's giving people the access to roads and the internet. As I'm reading the news myself, I'm seeing how he is having, he's trying to price gouge, trying to eliminate price gouging from corporations. He's also, if I'm not mistaken, he also cut down some medical bills for like diabetes and stuff.
That was Sean Howard speaking to Studio 7's Gibbs Dube in Virginia after casting his vote in the primaries. A lady who only identified herself as Sarah says that she is voting to protect her rights as enshrined in the United States Constitution.
Well, so I know it's a thing that everyone says all the time, but every vote counts, right? Voting is really important, and even if you think that you know what the outcome of an election is going to be, you don't know until the election happens. You don't know until all of those votes are counted. So I think it's important for everyone to come out here and say their piece, especially with so many threats right now to the right to vote, right? The idea that I would not come out here and utilize that right is kind of silly. There's a lot of threats right now to the right to vote in general, right? A lot of threats to our democracy in terms of people's rights being taken away, people's rights being threatened. I think that there are a lot of people that who just feel unheard, who feel like they're not a part of this country, who feel like their rights don't matter, who feel like their thoughts don't matter, who feel like their place in this country don't matter. And I think that a lot of that is just how we treat those people and how we threaten their rights on a daily basis. So I would like to see that resolved as much as possible.
Excellent.
And there's this issue of abortion. How important is it to you?
Wow, that's a weighted question. I think it is important. I think that at the end of the day, what someone does with their body should be their decision. But I also...
That was Sarah speaking to VOA soon after casting a vote in Arlington, Virginia. Stephanie Sanders, Chief Elections Officer at Precinct 146 Arlington, explains what's happening at this place today.
Andrews, I'm the Chief Election Officer at Precinct 146 in Arlington, Virginia, here at the Central Library.
How's it going here?
Good.
Can you tell us exactly, are many people coming or there are just a few?
We have not had a large turnout yet.
Is there any reason for that?
I have no idea.
Now, tell us about the procedure here. When somebody arrives, what happens?
Sure. When a voter arrives, we check that they are on the poll book to make sure that they are registered for this particular precinct. We then hand them a ballot. We are currently having 2 elections at the same time, a Republican primary and a Democratic primary. Voters can only vote in one. So we ask the voter which type of ballot they would like. We hand them a ballot, they fill in their choice, and they put it in our scanner.
From there, what happens?
From there, the votes are tallied and submitted to the election office.
So where is the election office and what happens there?
The election office is in the courthouse building, and I don't know the full extent of what they do.
And the results, when can people expect the results checking in?
The polls in Arlington close at 7 p.m. I don't know if they'll be releasing the results tonight or not.
That was Stephanie Sanders speaking to VOA's Gibbs Duven. Please stay tuned as we take a brief break.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
For those that have just joined us, please note that we are streaming live on our Facebook pages, VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, and VOA Ndebele. We are also live on YouTube, VOA Zimbabwe. Back to our topic today, we are discussing Super Tuesday, the biggest day of presidential primaries of the 2024 US election cycle. But some may wonder, what is Super Tuesday?
More states will hold primaries on Tuesday, March 5th than on any other day in this election cycle. That's why it's called Super Tuesday. 15 states and 1 territory will vote on Super Tuesday this year. In Iowa, results of the Democratic primary will be announced. It takes 1,420 pledged delegates, 36% of all delegates, to win the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. It takes 1,215 delegates, 50% of all delegates, to win the Republican Party's presidential nomination. The phrase Super Tuesday did not emerge until 1976. Bill Clinton got a boost from his strong showing on Super Tuesday in 1992 on his way to the White House. In 2000, both Democrat Al Gore and Republican George W. Bush effectively won their party nominations with victories on Super Tuesday. In 2016, Republican Donald Trump won 7 of 10 Super Tuesday contests on his way to winning the party nomination. Candidates who won Super Tuesday and won their party's nomination: Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Al Gore, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump.
And now for an update from Virginia, we have VOA Zimbabwe service reporters Blessing Zulu and Gibbs Dube on Skype. Good afternoon, Zulu. Blessing and Gibbs, welcome to Live Talk.
Thank you so much, Taboka. How are you?
I'm well. Blessing, tichitarisa zviri kuitika ku Virginia, chii chiri kuitika ikoko?
Hongu vanhu vatanga kuvhota mangwanani, asi dambudziko guru raitika nderekuti kwafuma kuchinaya kunzvimbo dzandashanyira dzakaita sekuManassas, kuDumfries, kuArlington uye nekuFairfax. Vanhu vanga vachivhota vari vashoma zvikuru zvekuti on average ndikati kusvika pari zvino kwavhota vanhu vasingadarike 100, asi mvura iko zvino yamira. Saka tiri kutarisirawo kuti vanhu vanenge vachizouya neuwando hwavo vachivhota, asi zvikoro zvanzi zvivharwe nhasi, asi vanhu vari kuenda kumabasa. Saka kazhinji vanhu vanozoti pavanenge vabva kubasa paya ndo pavanomhanya kuenda kunoti vange vachivhota.
Tinotenda. Pane vauya kuzovhota vari kuti chii? Pane vambotaurawo zvavakatarisira panguva inoi?
Vazhinji vatakwanisa kuti tinge tichitaura navo vari kuratidza ivo kuti vari kutsigira mutungamiri wenyika vaJoe Biden kudivi remaDemocrats, kudivi remaRepublicans vakawanda vari kutaura ivo nezvavaDonald Trump, zvichitaridzika sekuti vaviri ava ndo vanenge vari kutungamira. Asi pano nepapo tanga tichinzwawo kune vamwe vari kuti vari kutsigira zvakasimba amai Nikki Haley vaiva ivo governor wekuSouth Carolina, vakambovawo mumiriri weAmerica kuUnited Nations.
Tinotenda. Blessing. Gibbs, khona ngapho eArlington kuyini kwenzakalayo?
Lapha ke Taboka esikubonayo ukuthi kulabantu abalutshwana asebebuye lapha ukukhetha ukuzevota. So esikhulume labo abanengi Taboka lapha bathi khona bakhangelele uvotela labo ababili bangane yibo abazanqoba. Umnumzana Donald Trump wama-Republicans, lo mnumzana Joe Biden yena ngumongameli. Kuzobuya-ke ababili engikhulume labo bathe bona bangama-independents. So ngakho-ke nxa ungehlulo kwaHaley bazagcina bejekana loBiden. So nxa ukhuluma labo ubalaleli ukuthi bathina abantu abaningi bakhuluma ngombuso walapha eMelika. Bathi-ke kukhanya ngazani ungahamba ngenye indlela, kukhanya ngazani bayagcina-ke kulo mbuso ongazani awuhambi kahle. Kodwa kulabanye njalo bangafisi ukukhuluma ngodaba lolu nxa bephuma lapha. Ngiyambuza ubone sithi hayi nokuthi ngikhulume angifuni ngoba sengikhulumile khonapha phakathi. So vele kunjalo nxa ukhangele khonokho, kodwa-ke kulokunye njalo engikunanzeleleyo la, abantu abalutshwane bangabantu abatsha kungani kuyahlupha kakhulu. so mbuze omunye umutsho ukuthi kathi indaba abanye bakho bengabuyi wathi ingxenye bazabuya kukhetho olukhulu olwakwenziwa ngolezi so kunjalo lapho Tabakwa kodwa sikwazi ukuthi-ke impumela yokhetho lweyiya kwethulwa nini uStephanie Sanders onguyophethe lindawo uthi kakwaziwa bazathatha-ke ama-results alapha bahambise ku-coalition center kube sokubalwa khona ngale babe besazisa uZulu kodwa usuku alukabekwa walokho
ngiyabonga laphana Gibbs pho njengoba izulu livuke lisina abantu banengi na ababuyile ukuzovota njalo izulu lisana yini khona ngapha
lapho izulu phandle selimile ukuna njengoba ubona lapha ngime phandle kade kunzima izulu kulezulu elinye limangalisayo so abantu ekuseni kade bebalutshwane kakhulu ngithe ngifika lapha just after 7 am kade kulabantu ababili wasekubuya nje abanye abathathu labanye abahlanu ngesikhathi esithize kodwa kukhanya ngizani balutshwane esebuyile lapha kodwa bayacabangela ukuthi baningi abazabuya ngezikhathi zemini yantambama so lathi sikhangela ukuthi nxa sokufika leso sikhathi sizabe sikhuluma labo siza ukuthi babuya khathesi ngaliphi ekuseni kade kuhluphana kodwa abanye bangikhona basemsebenzini so umuntu ugijimela emsebenzini ephuma lapho uyatshayisa abantwana izikolo zivaliwe Tabakwa lapha eVirginia namhlanje
ngiyabonga Gibbs titore nguva ino kutenda blessing na Gibbs vatabata vari kuVirginia uko kwavari kuona vanhu vachivhota pama-primary elections aya. And now to discuss this issue in detail, we are joined on the phone by Zimbabweans in the US, Mr. Tim Muringai, based in Ohio, and Mr. Itai Marombeza in South Carolina. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Marombeza, we see this big day in America. What's the significance of such a day in the US politics?
Okay, thank you. This is a very, very important day and occasion in America and in American politics because this is, they call it the Super Tuesday, where they are going to get nominees for the main contestants, that is from the Republicans and the Democrats. I think from the reports that we are getting, it appears from the Democrats, Joe Biden is expected to take that one, and Donald Trump also for the Republicans. There is a very significant history behind the two main contenders because Joe Biden being this sitting president and Donald Trump who lost the previous election and is also coming back, then it means there's a lot that these two gentlemen carry that people already know, which we cannot speculate. So there's a very good basis for us to make an assessment in terms of the impact of either of those candidates going forward when the presidential elections hold in November.
Thank you. Tiri kuona kuti vaviri ava ndo vari kuvamati vakatarisirwa kuti vange vachikwikwidzana panouya sarudzo muna November. Muri kuona kunge zvingabuda sei nekufamba kwenguva, ndezvipi zvatingatarisira kubva iko zvino kusvika muna November?
Mamiriro azvakaita iko zvino vanoita ongororo dzesarudzo vachiita masurvey zviri kuratidza kuti pane a very small gap kana kuti musiyano wevanhu vari kutsigira vaviri avo vavari uri kubuda kuratidza kuti angangodaro ari kutungamira ndiani pamapolls. Musiyano wacho Donald Trump ari kubuda pamwe achinzi ndiye ari kutungamira, but musiyano wavo mudiki diki, zvinoreva kuti semaonero angu zvinhu zvinogona kuchinja because nguva yatiri ino I think tichiri tingati pachiri pedyo chaizvo titarisa mazuva achazoitwa sarudzo muna November. Saka pane zvinogona kuitika zvakawanda zvinogona kuchinja mamiriro emaonerwo azviri kuita iko zvino. Joe Biden hazvisamisi kuti pamberi apo anogona kunge akupamberi pakutungamirira kune vari kuinterview vachitaura kuti vangasapoti ani. Saka makwikwi acho akati itei a bit tight. Asi semaonero angu nenhoroondo nezvakaitika kumashure ndinoona kuti Joe Biden angangoita a very slight lead at the end. Nekuda kwezviitiko zvakaitika kumashure munorangarira kuti pakapinda Joe Biden achipinda kuita president pakamboita makakatanwa, pakaita insurrection, kusimukira kwakaita vanhu vachinoita kunopaza uko vachita mademonstrations. Izvozvo zvinhu zvakakanganisa chaizvo vaDonald Trump. Ndingati chimiro chavo nemaonerwo avanoita nevanhu, kunyanya-nyanya vanonyanya kusimudzira nyaya dzeutongi hwejekerere kana kuti democracy. So zvinogona kukanganisa nyangwe. Naizvozvo vanewo nyaya dzakati wandei dziri kumatare dziri kufambiswa, dzimwe dziri kungodaro dzisizovakanganisa. Asi tinoziva kuti vane vatsigiri vavo vakasimba chaizvo kumaRepublicans vanomira navo kunyangwe zvo vaine nyaya dzakawanda dziri pamatare. So pari zvino ndinongoona kuti kana waviri uyu uchiri wakachati bati hatina watinganyatsoti uyu ndiye, it could be a very slight lead at the end of the day.
Tinotenda vamarombedza sike sakhuluma laphana ukuthi silo baba uTim Muringai ecingweni siyalamukela kuhlelo. Muringai usungenele kuhlelo, siyakwamukela.
Ngiyabonga.
Baba Muringai, sikhangela usuku lolu ole Super Tuesday, lusuku oluqhakatheke kanganani ebantwini beMelika, njalo sikhangelela ukuthi ngemva kosuku lolu kuyini okungenzakala kuyiwa phambili okudaba lezokhetho lolu.
Ngiyabonga ukufaka kuhlelo lelo. I-importance ye-Super Tuesday iqakathekile ngoba khonapho abantu bayatshengisa ukuthi abantu ababafunayo or ababakhethileyo to represent them ku-general election. Siyabona ukuthi ama-Republicans njengoba bona bengela presidency bebe lama-contestants ayi-11 kathesi sokusele 2, umama uNikki Haley lo Donald Trump. And kuma-Democrats kube kulomunye othiwa nguDean lo RFK. So khonapho kutshengisela ukuthi bani abamfunayo ukuthi abe nguye ozabe eyi-representative yama-parties.
Siyabonga. Tiri kuona pha vamarombedza kuti zviri kuita kunge kumapato ese maviri pava nevari kutungamira zvekuti zvava kuita kunge zvinojeka kuti ndivo vachange vakamirira mapato avo maviri. Pachine, is there any need yekuti pange pachiendererwa mberi nemaprimaries kana kuti zvatojeka kuti vaviri ava ndivo vachamirira mapato aya?
Irwa zvakaita ndingangoti kwakange kuchiratidza kuti pangangoita mukana ungawanike umwe angakwikwidza zvikuru mapati ubato remaRepublicans. Asi mune mamwe uyu avaita so far zvikuratidza kuti Donald Trump anga achingokunda kwese achikwikwidzana naNikki Haley anova ndiye anga asara pane vamwe vose vaida kukwikwidza muRepublicans. Saka ndingangoti patave apa maonero atiri kuita nemafambiro azvaita so far ndingangoti kumabato maviri ose aya yango process yakuitwa kuti ingopedzise sematarirwo aya zvakaita pamutemo, asi zvapachena kuti kuma-Republicans Donald Trump ndiye ari kubuda achizokumirira ma-Republicans. Ukuwo Joe Biden haana akamira chaizvo hatingaverenge ari kukukwidza naye wekuti tingatarisire kuti pane zvingaitike kunze kwekuti iye Joe Biden abude iye achizokukwidza akamirira ma-Democrats. So ndofunga apa kwaakungotarisira kuti semafambiro anofanira kuti zviite kwaakuchingopedzisa, asi zvinenge zvapachena.
Tinotenda baba Muringai, lina lokhu likubona njani? Libona sengathi kungaba lento engachintsha ini lapha engamangalisa kumbe ababili laba esikhangelele ukuthi bazancintisana njalo kukhetho ngoNovember?
Hayi, okukathesi nganto sokuclear nje ukuthi ubaba Trump lo baba Biden babazancintisana ngoNovember. But ezinye izinto ezinganthwa zi-outstanding esizibonayo kathesi ngama-court cases lawo, ngoba sabona i-court ye-New York ifaka izinto zokuthi ubaba Trump kumele abhadale 480 million within 30 days. So khonoko kuqakathekile ngoba mawungela mali to contest in November, i-Republican Party then will have to ukuthi badinga omunye contest as a candidate for the party. So indaba zonke lezi ezikababa Trump angikwazi ukuthi zizabe sesisiya ngaphi, ngoba sikwazi ukuthi eyayizolo wina 9-0 ama-judges athi bangamkhuphi kuma-ballot, but ezinye lezi ama-outstanding court cases angamphambanisa phambili esiya khona lapho.
Hayi, ngiyabonga kakhulu baba Muringai. Let me take this opportunity to thank the two gentlemen, Vamarombedza and Vamuringai, for coming on the show. Vamarombedza, mungaitawo mashoko ekupedzisira tisati avhara chirongo.
Aiwa, mashoko atingangotaura ndeyekuti sarudzo dzatakatarisa nadzo isarudzo dzinenge tinakidzei dzichaita ma-twist and turns kusvika padzichazoitwa muna November. Saka ticharamba takangoriva tichingotarisa tichiona kuti zviri kufamba sei, asi ndo dzedzimwe sarudzo dzandiri kuona in the history of American politics dzichatinakidze zvakanyanya.
Tinotenda ngamafichane Muringai, yikuyini esingakukhangelela lapha siqeda lapho uhlelo?
Ngiyabonga, esingakubona ukuthi kathesi sibona ukuthi ubaba Biden nobaba Trump nganta yibo abasebeyi-2 abasesele for the November contest, but siyakwazi ukuthi ama global players wonke from Israel, Ukraine, Russia, langaphi all over the world bakhangelele labo ukuthi babone ukuthi ongabuya ngubani, ngoba abaningi bafuna nganthiwa ubaba Trump aphenduke, but abanye labo bafuna ukuthi ubaba Biden aqhubeke ngomsebenzi.
Hayi, siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you all for joining us on Livetalk, and that brings us to the end of our show. Signing off in Washington, I am Taboka Ncube.